nightmare. It's a nightmare. They were in the middle of finals, so they were all on campus studying at the library. And about an hour and a half ago, the first text I get from my son is, "Mom, there's a live shooting on campus, and I'm going to run, and I love you." I was like, what? So we've only been texting, and I'm getting live updates from him because we've told him to turn off his phone, not to make a single sound, but he's in a supply closet room on campus, barricaded with 12 students. They've turned off the lights. They've put chairs on their door. One of his classmates is having a panic attack, so the friends are trying to keep her quiet so that no sounds are being made. They have a radio update that they're getting as students, and the most recent update is that there's nobody in custody, and there's an active shooter that's still on campus with some casualties, but we don't know how many. We just know that their situation is not resolved at all.
Well, that's the current, that's the last report, I guess, that came out from about the shooting at Brown University. And that's the mother of a student at Brown University. I got turned on to this news this evening because my nephew is a student at Brown University. It was shocking because we were on a family call and this came in. And this isn't the kind of news that you want to hear, come out from an institution where your kids are studying. Well, we do have some updates about the shooting, and here's what we're hearing.
There was an individual who was preliminarily thought to be involved and was later determined to have no involvement, and that's why we can confirm that at this time there is nobody in custody. The length of that investigation or interrogation of that individual, I don't know.
Mayor, has a weapon been recovered?
Commander?
No weapons have been recovered.
Do you know what weapon was used?
We just know that it was a firearm. What type of firearm, we're unaware of.
All right, so they don't have any update on the firearm. And as at this reporting, there has been no update on the shooter. No one knows who the shooter is at the moment. Now, I think so far there's been an update on the body count on this incident.
Came in to Brown University of a report of an active shooter. I can confirm that there are 2 individuals who have died this afternoon, and there are another 8 in critical status, those stable, at Rhode Island Hospital. Those are the only injuries or casualties that we know at this time. But as I mentioned, and it's important to remind folks, these numbers may change. We are still in early hours, but at this time.
All right, so there's an update. Several have been reported dead. I spoke with my brother whose son attends. He lives in New York. And he says that there's been a report that 12 people have been injured. Of course, those numbers may change. This is senseless violence. And of course, right now, I don't know. And I don't know if you can let me know in the chat if there's been an update since I went live, on this incident. But no one knows who the shooter is. No one knows the motive of the shooter. There's only one motive that drives people to do these kinds of things, and that is hate, pure and simple. No one simply walks into a library full of people who are preparing for their exams and then decides to open fire on everyone, killing several and injuring others. Well, let's keep the families of the deceased and the injured in our prayers. We don't have names, we don't have all the details right now, but please keep them in your prayers. This is a horrible shooting, and we do hope that there will be some favorable update on the capture of the assailant, and at least we can make sense of this insanity. Moving on to the next story, we have a report that came out yesterday about the Democrats releasing yet another set of of photos, trying to again bring up the whole Epstein situation. Earlier in the week, last week, I did mention that whenever the Democrats see that they're losing the battle in the in the zeitgeist, they always revert to the same thing, Epstein. And it seems like they just want the Epstein story to just be this unsolved mystery that they can always draw upon. Well, President Trump signed the order to release the files. But here's TDSBC once again chomping at the bits to discredit President Trump and just basically say all of these women in this picture that was redacted and that was just recently released were being abused by President Trump. Let's have a listen.
But Anna, one thing that stands out to me is the people whose faces are not redacted as compared with images where we can see that the women have faces that are redacted or blurred out. That suggests to me that either the estate and or the committee believe that some of these women are either minors and or survivors of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
You know, the upsetting thing about TDSBC, okay, I'm not going to change that label that I've given them because they simply rebranded. They always come out with these insane reports to say, okay, oh, wow, you revealed something that we never knew. Meanwhile, here's the actual unredacted photo. This photo has been out in the public for 10 years. Here's the photo, all right? They claim was just recently released. It was released 10 years ago. Over 10 years ago, this photo was made available to the public. And from the stories that we're hearing, this was a photo shoot that was taken to promote a product called Hawaiian Tropic. And now the Democrats want to gaslight us all to believe that this redaction means that the people in the photo are minors. Okay, now let me know in the chat if you're essentially tired of all of the stupidity that we're seeing from the Democrats, because like President Trump said earlier this year, this entire thing is a distraction. Of course, a lot of people didn't like the way he said it. They expected him to be more gentle about his statements about anything regarding Epstein, especially when Pam Bondi, essentially messed up earlier in the year with the binders and everything. But the Democrats continue to play this game where they say, oh, look, it's redacted. Therefore, this is something untoward and criminal. The last documents that they released, they were the ones who redacted it. And this one, once again, they redact these photos. Meanwhile, the photos have been out in public for over 10 years. Well, Abby Phillips of CNN wants us to, to join her outrage because the White House put out a statement criticizing the random release of these pictures that have been redacted that essentially don't mean anything. Let's have a listen.
Epstein Files Transparency Act, which was overwhelmingly passed by Congress. If there's anything that this demonstrates, more information coming out, but this is not a one-sided partisan situation. You know, you've got people from all walks of life, business, Hollywood, politics, left and right, and they're all in there. And so I do think that that kind of punctures a lot of the narratives. And also, to me, I'm kind of perplexed by the White House statement because nobody comes off looking good. Democrats don't come off looking good. Republicans don't come off looking good.
Well, I think the complaint is that they are cherry picking. They have 90,000 some photos, and they're cherry picking those photos. And for example, the one they put out today was just a picture with the president and women who were not underage. There was Jeffrey Epstein is not in the photo. They redacted their faces, but the Epstein estate had already put that out with their faces, and so it kind of just leads to this question. It makes it look skeevy when it's not. I mean, I agree. This is bipartisan.
So CNN wants to put on the veneer of this being a bipartisan thing. Both parties want this all to be sorted out. They want all of the victims to have justice for everyone. But hey, why is it that the Democrats continue to insist on cherry picking evidence, trying to smear Trump with nothing? Okay, like this isn't a good look on the Democrat Party. Let me know what you think in the chat, because every time they do this, it discredits every effort that they try to make concerning the Epstein files. It's almost like the only reason why they are concerned about the Epstein files is because it is a weapon that they can use against the Trump administration. Now, Scott Jennings would have none of it, because he essentially points out to them on CNN the real motive of the Democrat Party.
Well, and Scott, I mean, that was the concern that's what Marjorie Taylor Greene basically alluded to when she was asked about the president fighting her on signing that Epstein discharge petition. She told him she was worried people would get hurt. Obviously, one thing that Republicans have argued is that people could be unfairly smeared by being included in this. I mean, you saw Richard Branson, a lot of people who are included in these photos today that have not been accused of wrongdoing. That is incredibly important to note, even for a second time. But Scott, I wonder what you make of the argument that it's being cherry picked. I mean, the DOJ could release this theoretically tomorrow.
Yeah, look, here's what I think. Robert Garcia and the Democrats on oversight don't care about justice. They don't care about victims. They don't care about anything except one thing. They care about making the American public think that Donald Trump had something to do with this. What Van said is incredibly accurate. They should be patient. If they cared about victims and they cared about a narrative of justice and they cared about that part of it, they would be patient and they would be measured. But what did they do today? They release photos that are cherry picked, by the way, and they throw in an already publicly released photo of Donald Trump. They blur out the pictures of the women to make you think that these women were underage sex victims, when in fact, they were very adult. They were at an event. It's already a publicly released photo. And one of the women said on the record, oh, Donald Trump was gentlemanly. So what the Democrats are doing here is they're taking a very serious story in which real people got hurt by powerful people, all for the purpose of trying to smear Donald Trump. That's what this has always been about. They didn't care about it until now. And what they're doing with these photos is nothing short of outrageous. This is not a story about Trump and Epstein. It's a story about Epstein, but they want it to be about Trump. And I'm just, honestly, it is crazy. When you put out photos and digitally alter and react to people's faces, you know what you're doing, and it's not right.
Yeah, so they essentially digitally alter a photo that's already out there. You know, they wanted to make it look like the women were underage. One of them was 22 years old, and she released a statement. She says, I was 22 years old and remember him being very nice. That is Trump. He was very gentlemanly. That's the word to describe him, she said. Okay, not a single one of these women accused Trump of wrongdoing. And yet the Democrats want to make this look like, you know, this is something seedy. Their faces were covered to protect their identities because they were minors when President Trump was groping them in the photograph. You know, and you know, it's really frustrating, especially for actual victims of crimes like this. All right. So let me know in the chat what you think of this story. Okay, it's getting really annoying whenever you see the Democrats try to play these games. And to be honest, it gets tiring to continue to repeat these videos because we all know that, you know, this is just a frame job. They just want to frame President Trump of being someone that they want him to be. And if we decide, okay, this is the 10th time that they've tried this, everyone should know that this is a lie. I don't think that's the right approach to take. We have to head off lies at every turn because I run into people regularly, even people in the comment section, who repeatedly claim that he committed these crimes. Okay, so it is important for us to pay attention to what's going on. Every time they release a crazy story, we have to turn around and debunk these stories. It's really important that, you know, we do this. Else, every time they release a new Epstein story, we just shrug our shoulders and move on. But for the benefit of those who are gullible and who essentially don't know the difference, it's our job to basically bring up the truth of these stories and present it to the world. Now, one of the things that have been said repeatedly is the poor job that Congress is doing, especially the GOP. The Democrats in Congress are busy on a witch hunt trying to make President Trump look horrible. But why is it that right now the GOP seems to be hamstrung? Okay, now here is J.D. Vance essentially saying that the numbers are in, and it's clear that Congress isn't working for the American people. Let's have a listen.
Last question, Arctic frost. It is getting bigger, and I talked to sources this morning. It's about to explode. And things that we thought were long lost and gone, I want to be a little cryptic, are not lost.
That's right.
And they're not gone.
That's right. Yeah, I want to be a little cryptic too, because I know that we're it's still in the early stages of this investigation. But look, Sean, I think it's one of the great scandals in American history. I think this is definitionally the Biden administration, the deep state, using the apparatus of justice to go after their political opponents. And I also think it raises a very critical issue, and something that I'd encourage my Senate friends on the Republican side to wake up about, because eventually you're going to see prosecutions, not just Arctic frost related, but on a whole host of other issues. Eventually, we need certain subpoenas that have to be issued by a court. Eventually, you need local prosecutors, U.S. attorneys, to go after some of these people in a court of law. If you can't get a U.S. attorney appointed because the Democrat won't give you a blue slip, or you can't get a judge confirmed because the Democrats are gumming up the work of the Senate, Republicans have got to open up their perspective a little bit. And again, I say that some of these people are very dear friends of mine, but why do we allow the blue slip process to prevent the president from appointing a U.S. attorney? Why do we let the blue slip process make it impossible for Donald Trump to appoint a federal judge in California?
I'd like to say that it appears that the Democrats in Congress appear to be outworking the Republicans in Congress. And here's what I mean by that. At each turn, whenever President Trump's policies or his appointees are being processed through Congress, the Democrats are all united to make sure that these policies or these appointees get held up as long as humanly possible. They are all united in that vision. But where's the GOP on this? Okay, it appears that most of them sit in a corner, maybe lying in a fetal position and sucking their thumbs. It's like nothing is happening. And that's one of the frustrations that people have with the Republican Party. Whenever you have a win, okay, and I think for Republicans generally, you have a win like you had last November, and then you see that everyone goes to bed. The Republicans in Congress decide that, well, we won, we own the House and Senate now, we can go to bed and keep doing business as usual. And then the voters do the same, like we saw in Tennessee, where a candidate that shouldn't even have come close as she did during the elections, came very close because most Republicans essentially refused to turn out to vote for one reason or the other. But the main reason is that Republicans tend to cede the ground to Democrats because Democrats are always working to push their agenda.
If you want justice, you've got to empower the President of the United States to actually appoint the officers of justice all over the country. The Democrats are stalling that. And we're going to wake up in a couple of years, if we don't have more U.S. attorneys approved, if we don't have more judges approved, we're going to wake up in a couple of years and realize that we've done a lot of great work at the Trump administration, but justice is not being meted out as it should be because we don't have the people on the ground. That is a big problem. And I know that's somewhat unrelated to Arctic frost, but it actually is related to Arctic frost because you cannot get the justice for the people who are targeted by the Biden administration unless we've got good people, especially in these U.S. attorneys' offices. And that's something, Sean, we got to pay attention to over the next year.
It's sad because the statute of limitations. I make the argument all the time that from the moment he and Melania came down that escalator, they've been out to destroy him and using the very 100%. Heavy arm, deep powers, deep state to do it. And
spying on him, prosecuting him, investigating senators, congressmen who are just aligned with the president of the United States. You're right. Some of this stuff is going to get covered by statute of limitations. Yeah. Some of this stuff, Sean, some of this stuff we can and we should prosecute. And I'm just telling you, this is going to be a real problem. And the people who watch your show are going to get really pissed at Senate Republicans, excuse my language, if we don't have the U.S. attorneys on the ground to actually achieve justice. People are going to get angry, and rightfully so.
Well, I don't think that that there's any sense of urgency for the GOP. It doesn't look like it. They're calm and they're very laissez-faire about doing their job. There was a reason why President Trump won the elections last November in a landslide. Okay, he won the electoral vote, he won the popular vote. Why was it? Because people saw the lawfare that was pushed against him. They saw the overreach of the FBI breaking down people's doors for texting and accusing parents of being extremists because they spoke at school boards about boys being in girls' bathrooms. Everyone saw this and decided that the insanity had to end. And then eventually there was an election and the people voted. But the GOP seems to not be, working with the Trump administration to ensure that this never happens again. Now, let's look at some numbers that I found, online about some of the things that make people really shrug and wonder what the GOP is doing. All right. Now, here's the number of bills that Congress passed during a president's term in office. Okay. In the first year of George W. Bush, 109 bills were passed in 2001. For Obama, 120 were passed in 2009. For President Trump, 96 were passed in 2017. Look at that. It was 109 for George W. Bush, 120 for Obama, and then 96 for President Trump. For Biden, 122 in 2021. Now, in Trump's second term in 2025, for the entire year, take a wild guess how many bills have been passed by Congress. Okay, I'm looking at the chat. 5. Now, if this doesn't show you that there is a lot of resistance being ground into the system by the Democrat Party, I don't know what else will. Okay, there is an orchestration in place to ensure that President Trump's mandate isn't pushed through. And every time a bill is passed, they'll step out and say how it's destroying American lives and how people are being hard done by these bills that President Trump has just passed. They've never shut up about the one big, beautiful bill. All right, they're going to continue to bellyache about it and gaslight everyone to believe that something very wrong has taken place. Now, we're at the end of the stories that I've lined up for tonight. This is Saturday night, and this is the first Saturday night live stream that we're having. Now, let me know in the chat what you think about the stories that we've covered. Okay, what do you think about the shooting? I did tell you that I have family that goes to Brown University. We've checked on him, and he's doing fine. But our hearts go out to the families of the students and the people who were affected by the shooting, the lives lost, and those who were injured. Please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And what do you think about this, this new Epstein scam? Every time the Democrats have a setback, they always pull another Epstein rabbit out of their hats. And of course, it turns out not to be a rabbit. Okay, it's just a nothing. And mainstream media, rallies behind the Democrats to say, oh, look, they found a smoking gun, only for us to take a second look and find out that this is yet another hoax being pushed on the American people by the Democrat Party. And then finally, we have this question about Congress. Okay, Congress essentially isn't doing the job that they're supposed to be doing for the American people. Okay, and the questions are what's going on and why is all of this happening to President Trump's terms? Okay, first term, he gets the lowest number of bills passed by Congress because they essentially don't want him to change anything in Washington, D.C. And I think this actually is coming from both Democrats and Republicans, because whenever you have an outsider like President Trump come in, people on the inside don't want him to change anything in order for business to carry on as usual. And I think the Republicans, seem to have a hand in this entire situation. So let me know what you think in the chat. Now, let me say a few things about the channel. Okay, we decided to add a Saturday night live stream because we believe that we have to continue to put out the news and connect with you and continue to provide value as much as we can. One other thing that we've noticed is that the YouTube algorithm, if I will call it that, seems to be playing with the channel. Okay, it's playing with the channel, and here's what I mean. We found that several videos, several live streams that we've put out, 3 in quick succession have been flagged for limited distribution by the YouTube AI. And every time I've contested that decision by the AI, it has always come back approved in full. So I would like to say, and I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I have no choice but to say that it appears that the channel is being suppressed. Okay, and I wouldn't say it is someone who works at YouTube who hates the channel and doesn't want the channel to do well, but it appears that there's something going on where because of certain positions that we take on the channel, the performance of the channel is being hobbled. We're not allowed to reach as many people as we should. And even when it looks like a video is about to reach a certain number of people because of the views that are coming in, the video gets hobbled by saying, okay, there's something wrong with this video. The creator said something wrong. And every time we've contested it, it has always been, seemingly approved. But we're seeing that this is happening more often. Now, in order to help us, I see that we have regulars on the channel, and we do have people that believe that the content that we provide is valuable and they want to support us and they want us to win. So if you're watching, okay, I'd like you to please consider doing several things. Okay, make sure that the bell icon is on whenever you look at the subscribe button. If it's active and the bell icon is active, then that's fine. 2, every time you join the live stream, please hit the thumbs up button. Okay, it's very important that you hit the thumbs up button. That helps signal YouTube that you, the viewer, approves the live stream and you want the live stream to reach more people just like you. And then 3, help us by sharing the video. Share the link, share the video. And then 4, engage with the content. Leave a chat, leave a comment, engage with the content. Okay, even if all you do is hit the heart emoji in the chat just to let YouTube know that, look, you guys really enjoy the content, or you really support me, that will go a long way. Small channels like mine that are conservative seem to be having a hard time, okay, this year. And to be honest, I don't mean to be a conspiracy theorist or to bellyache and cry and mewl. I'm going to continue creating content. YouTube is not going to discourage me. They can suppress the channel all they want, or the channels all they want. I'm going to continue working. Like I've told you guys, this is the only thing I can legally do right now. So this is all I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be posting shorter form content for the last couple of weeks. I've done nothing but live stream every day. I'm going to be posting short form content. And for those of you who have been faithful and who have been supportive of the content that I've been creating, I want to ask you to please support us even more by engaging with those videos and content. Some of those videos will be clips created from the live streams. Others will be original videos from stories that we can't cover during the live stream. I have tons of stories I have not covered, and I would like to just do that and continue to work hard in order to provide you with great content. Now, all of that said, okay, we need your support. We need your help. And if you can, consider supporting us with donations, with super chats, with super thanks. Support us by joining the membership. Okay, all of these things come together to ensure that the channel lingers and the channel succeeds. Okay, I did this when the channel was earning zero. Okay, when the channel wasn't earning any money, and now that the channel is monetized and we're actually making some shekels. Whenever a few thousand people watch, we just make a few dollars. That's fine. Okay, but the potential of the channel seems to be interesting, and I believe that you watching believe that there's some potential to what we're capable of, and that's why you keep coming back every time we go live. I appreciate the support. I appreciate you for coming back. We need you to continue to support us. We need you to continue to encourage us with your comments and with your thoughts. And if you can, please consider sending us ideas. You can send topic ideas. You can send your thoughts to the email address on the screen. Right now, I'm going to go full screen. Okay. Send your ideas or your thoughts to the email address on the screen. All right. This helps us out to know that the topics that we're covering mean something to you. It also helps us to know that that the stories that we're covering should actually continue to be, or let's say the topics we're covering are relevant to you and to other people out there. All right. So we are going to continue, and we're going to just continue to provide you as much value as we can. All right. So thanks for joining us for our very first Saturday night live stream. We're going to be continuing with this. We're going to also be considering tightening the duration of the live streams. The reason why I'm considering doing that is I want the live streams to be the kind of experience that allows you to kind of do a watch through without feeling like it's a chore. Okay, so there will be a few live streams that will naturally be longer than 40 minutes, but I'm going to be working on making them as compact and as entertaining as possible. And I'm going to try to be as I'm going to try to exercise as much self-control as I can to keep the live streams as short as I possibly can. Okay, so I want to thank you for being a part of this live stream. Have a great rest of your Saturday night. I'm sure that most of you are having movie nights or date nights, or you're just having friends over, or you're just having a nice binge of your favorite TV show and you saw this notification and you joined. Thank you so much for being a part of it. We will be seeing you tomorrow night as well. Okay. Tomorrow night, we might be coming on, but if I will not be, okay, I'll see you on Monday at noon Eastern. Okay. Thank you so much for being a huge part of our success so far. And until next time, God bless you, and I'll see you on the next one. Welcome to Headlines and History, live news reactions and your views. We're about to go live soon, so grab your spot and get ready for a sharp, balanced take on today's biggest news stories with a dash of historical insight. Stay tuned. Each week, we tackle the headlines that matter: politics, economics, global events with a balanced lens. We'll react live, tie today's stories to historical moments, and spotlight your views in the chat. From trade talks echoing the 1990s to crises recalling 2008, we're here to unpack it all. Your voice drives the show. Share your thoughts or historical parallels in the live chat, and we'll dive into the best ones. It's news, context, and community all in 1 hour. We're moments away from launching Headlines and History. Stick around for live reactions, historical nuggets, and your chance to chime in. Hit the notification bell, prep your comments, and let's make sense of the news together. See you soon.